Okay, so finally, the reveal. Let's recharge the page, and here it is. Okay, so no sound probably, as always. Okay, interesting. Eat that stairs. 8 mana, 8/8. Play, obliterate all landmarks or deal 2 to all other units. Pretty interesting. Fragile card, by the way. The Scargrounds. When an ally survives damage, granted +1/+0 and tough. Interesting. That is pretty interesting. On Fragile, again, why they are releasing so many cards from Fragile? Monastery of Irana. Landmark around Stark, create a sanctuary in hand. Also 3 mana, so like they pretty cheap landmarks. Sanctuary, not a collectible card. 1 mana burst. Sanctuary, recall an ally, can't be cast in combat or in response to a spell. That's kinda interesting. Then we're gonna talk a bit like more in depth of this card, but first let's see all of them. 5 mana Ionia, Homecoming, okay, so I even confirmed. Recall an ally, unit or landmark to recall an enemy unit or... Wow, that's pretty interesting. So like now why should you play Wheel of Ionia compared to this? Like, okay, this is both a drawback or a synergy piece, so that's interesting, I guess. Okay, Wiggly Burblefish. 3/1 elusive for 6 mana. Reduce my cost by 1 for each spell you have cast this game. When I'm summoned, create a 1-cost spell from your reasons in hand. Kinda interesting. Feeds elusive. Could be fine. Like, yeah, they're releasing a lot of like wild cards. Not a lot from Noxus or Targon. So probably those are wild cards. 3 mana, slow, boom ship. Deal 1 to a unit, then summon powder kegs equal to the amount of damage dealt. Interesting. That's pretty interesting. Like the huge powder kegs of a synergy as a bit of support. Okay, so let's now we saw all of them. Now let's comment all of them a bit together. Okay, so Eat the Stairs. 8 mana, 8/8, and basically a board wipe for all other units. So this is basically an avalanche that costs 8. You can't cheat it because it is not mana spell. So like if it was a spell, you could cast this on turn 5. But now, like Avalanche, you can cast it on turn 3 or 4 by default. So that this is a pretty late board wipe, which of course comes with an 8/8 body, which is nothing to... It is a huge body, but like you see, it doesn't have like Overwhelm, Elusive, Fearsome. It doesn't really have anything. Like it is an 8/8, which just gets blocked by a 1/1. So like it is like, okay, you're gonna destroy all the champ blockers by killing them. And also you can act it like a landmark, patch. You could also play it as that. It is good, I think, late tempo swing. Okay, yeah, late tempo swing. That's the problem. It comes too late. Like imagine at 8 mana you could, or a bit more, like 9 mana. At 9 mana you can play Bright Steel Formation, or at 8 mana you can play Riptide Rex. Those are so much stronger than these. You can't even be ahead after these, because if you have a lot of small units, you are gonna kill all of them, you know? So like, this will be the only unit that you will have. Instead with Riptide Rex, for example, you need a bit of setup, of course. You need to play Plunder, but like in those decks you just play the shot, you know, the warning shot. So it's like pretty easy to do, and you have a huge tempo swing. Even if it is late, at turn 8 with Riptide Rex you win the game most of the times. Instead, Eat That Stairs, probably as a way to deal damage to also your own stuff. Yeah, even like Tryndamere is just bad rating. Exactly. Like because this doesn't have any type of keywords. Like this could be fine if you combo it with the troll, which is regeneration and overwhelm. This of course is a very great target for that, and also is 8 mana, so it synergizes with the behold, which is kinda interesting. Plus I forgot what the card is, but the one that summons 10/10 champion is a better win condition. Yeah, of course, the Field Rush. For just one turn later and you're gonna play 2 champions as a 10/10. So yeah, like this is not a super competitive card. I could see it like as a patch for landmarks, or as a way to deal damage to your own stuff as well. So like as we saw before, the landmark which synergizes with all the like fragile team of dealing damage to your own stuff, like this could fit in there. But I doubt it would be mad at all. Like this is experimental or probably not even pretty bad. Let's say it like this. Not that bad. Not that good. Sorry. A bit bad. Okay, instead the Scargrounds. When an ally survives damage, granted +1/+0 and tough. So this is a very interesting card for sure. Like this is the landmark for Failure that we didn't see yet, and now we see it. Kinda like that. Like probably the main concept of Failure, like the main theme going on, is this like surviving, you know, to damage, to cold. So like I like a lot the Scargrounds. Curves into Braum, yeah, exactly. So Braum is very good in here, very good. Like because with Braum you can choose also when to damage it. You don't even need self-damaging stuff. And of course, Braum getting attack and tough. Bomber, for God's sake, build a Braum Blood deck with it. Yeah, like with Vlad as well. Vlad dealing damage to everything. They take the damage the first time, but then they all get tough, so that you have insane drain capabilities. You can heal. You have burn with Vladimir. They don't take damage because they have tough, and they all become stronger. So like this is pretty interesting. What does Vlad do? I haven't seen him. When you attack with Vladimir, it deals 1 damage to all other units. Actually, it was changed to all the units to his right, but you can always choose to make him attack first, and so that you deal 1 damage to all your units, to deal 1 damage to your opponent Nexus. So like you are draining them, and they deal damage to the enemy Nexus. Then once he levels up, you are gonna drain the health from your opponent's Nexus, so that you're also gonna heal your Nexus as well. So like yeah, this could be very interesting in that archetype. I don't know if it is gonna be all that good, because you have still to consider that even if it is 3 mana, like it is still a pretty huge tempo loss at 3 mana. Like if you are playing against aggro, you can't really afford to even like turn 3, even if you think about Starspring, that's already pretty bad, wasting your second turn against an aggro. This is pretty bad. So like yeah, all the landmarks fall into this trap. Like they don't do all that much once they get played. Like for example, they're pretty similar to enchantments in like incantations. I don't remember the name, in Magic the Gathering. Like they either have to interact with the board immediately and then also have like a passive effect. For example, like a good way to interact with the board is like give all your allies +1/+0 immediately. So like you can make your opponent, your board more threatening immediately, and then you can also gain a passive effect going on in the game, you know. But it's like you play it and then you need to do stuff for this in order to work. But for sure, this is pretty good, like pretty desirable effect. While like I don't know, the Piltover Zone landmark, for example, the old one, not the new one, even the new one, you could actually also build a deck for meal, basically. Okay, I must sleep. Good night, my friend. Okay, good night. Hope that you hope to see you some other times. But yeah, like I've not like bad hopes for this card, but not even all that great of. If I like give you the point straight, like this could be fine. I will experiment with this card, but I don't think that it will end up being all that much competitive. By the way, moving on, we have Monastery of Hirana. Round start, create a Sanctuary in hand, and then the Sanctuary, as we saw, recall an ally can be cast in combat or in response to a spell. So like I'm thinking, of course, Lee Sin, pretty cheap way to get a lot of spells to activate Lee Sin, as well for feeds. Recall an ally, this can't be cast in combat or in response to a spell, so that you can't deny. This is pretty healthy, by the way, Because if for just 1 mana you could always save a unit from removal, then your opponent can't really remove your stuff, so this is completely healthy. So instead, the value is in playing units which have a very desirable on-play effect, or stuff like that. Or maybe like summoned units, which cost less than what they actually do. For example, I'm thinking about the Cursed Keeper, which summons a 2 mana for 3, sorry, which is pretty desirable to replay. But yeah, like, not really, because you would want that to be on board instead. So like, this only works with on-play effects, stuff like that. So like, Highway Brigander, if that's the name. What else could be on Ionia? Or maybe even in other factions, like Riptide Rex with this very desirable on-play effect. And yeah, I should check like which cards have an on-play effect. Probably we didn't even see them yet, because there are gonna be more revealed since this is the comp they're going for. Like, yeah, this is a bit more iffy. Very, very experimental for sure. So let's continue. Homecoming, yeah, this is basically the same as before. This is basically a Wheel of Ionia, but if you want the synergy with recalling your own unit, you can also do that. So like, this could be also a pretty huge tempo swing. Like, for example, if they try to go for the removal, then you could recall the ally that gets removed, and on top of that, recall a unit of their own. So like, this is probably a bit better than Wheel of Ionia most of the times. Even if you don't have any kind of synergy with the recalling an ally to your hand, it's probably better than Wheel of Ionia now, in all occasions. Like, this could be part of the meta. Like, as a tech card, if like removals are a lot present, this could be definitely a very good card in your deck. Like, probably this is 3 out of 5. In my rating system, this basically means like it is meta dependent. If there is a lot of removals, then this is a great counter to that. And again, if we see huge synergies with on-play effects, then this is also pretty good. Anyway, moving on, we see the Wiggly Burblefish. This is like, you need 4 spells for this to be worth the cost, basically. Probably just 3 spells, and then you can also, because you also get a spell from it. This is kind of interesting. So a 3 mana, 3/1 elusive, draw a card. It's okay. Like, I wonder, like, is this competitive? Like, because you have to go for spells also, you know. So like, you can't be all that much aggro. Elusive always wants to be aggro. So like, if you have a lot of spells for this to work, like, that's kind of strange. Probably you don't want to be an elusive aggro player. Instead, if you see that your deck has a lot of spells in it, then you probably want to add the Wiggle Barberfish. But then, like, is it even worth it? Do you want to put a 3/1 elusive for your control playstyle? Like, I don't know about that. Like, for example, thinking about other card games, for example, Hearthstone, there is like the concept of playing spells so that then you can summon a huge blocker, a huge minion in that game. So like, this is not that. This is a way to deal damage. It can't really block all that well, and it's pretty much there to whatever ping. So like, I'm not a big fan of this card. Interesting for sure. Like, I wonder what they're gonna do with that. Probably. Oh, you know what? With now I flashed the synergy. With the iterative creation, I can't remember the name. Like the card that we saw yesterday, 2 mana burst, add a card to your hand, and give it +1/+1. That's a nice combo that I now figured out. Like, because as I saw in my like video about it, I say that if you have a unit which is very desirable to play, not to have on board, because like that created a copy in your hand, you know, the card that I'm talking about. I can't remember. Iterative machination, something like that. Iterative. I can't remember. But yeah, so like with cards that reduces their cost while in hand, that is very great, because you just play two mana to create a copy of it in your hand, but then they are basically free again, because they reduce their cost immediately, you know? So like they are 0 cost mana, which probably are bigger than that, because they just reduce their cost. So like for example, that card works with Plaza Guardian, with Arbiter of the Peak, all those cards, and as well as the Wiggly Barberfish. So this is basically the Arbiter of the Peak, the Plaza Guardian of the Targon, the Bilgewater expansion. Bilgewater region, sorry, today I mismatched words. But yeah, so that could be interesting, but I doubt that it will be mad at all. Like, I figured out the synergy, but it is not worth it in my opinion. Moving on, we see Boom Ship. Slow, deal 1 to a unit, then summon powder kegs equal to the amount of damage dealt. So like, this will always generate at least 1 powder keg. So like, dealing 1 damage and summoning a powder keg, is it worth it? Probably not. So of course you want to have powder kegs already on board. If you have only 1, you're gonna deal 2 damage and then summon 2 powder kegs. So like, this always increases by 1 the amount of powder kegs you had on board before you cast this. If this was with 2 powder kegs, which starts to be a lot, then you basically don't lose your powder kegs. You're casting a pretty okay removal. It is low speed, so not that great, but that's okay. And you're also gaining a new powder keg instead of using your previous ones. So like, is it worth it? You have to have a lot of powder keg synergy to have 2 on board by the time you play this card. So like, I'm not so sure about it. Like, if they add even more support to the powder keg mechanic, then probably this could be good in the deck. But right now I probably feel like no. But definitely interesting, kinda funny. And so yeah, we just restarted. So that was the last card. Okay, so we just reacted to it, and yeah, we just also commented them together. So that's it for the reaction. Also video. This is probably gonna be posted on YouTube. So yeah.